Hello, everybody. Today I have the great pleasure to be here with the founder of the Breakfast Palooza, Nathan Byrd. You're not just the founder of the Breakfast Palooza, but you're also a great entrepreneur, right?
Yes,
Today
sir.
we're going to talk about the Breakfast Palooza, but what else do you do?
Well, I help companies expedite their growth by marketing, as well as helping them understand inefficiencies within their company structure through my consulting company, which is called Growth Balance Incorporated. So, at the end of the day, I love helping people grow, whether it be spiritually, financially, personally, or professionally. And I love business because you can do many of those things all within the creation of the relationships that you build, as well as the end product, whether it be a product or service that provides value for the marketplace, which then the marketplace will give you what you're worth, really.
Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity you gave my wife and I of participating at the Breakfast Palooza.
Mm-hmm.
That was an amazing experience. And I just wanted to know where everything started.
Yeah.
But I also want to know about your personal story. So,
Yeah, I love touching on the personal story because the real question is why do you love what you do, and what has propelled you to the position that you are today? And I think many people in business, as well as when you're creating things, people have a perception of who you are, and because that's just based on what people see. But it's really important for people to get to know the behind the scenes. So for me, um, you know, as a kid, I was obsessed with sports. So that was what originally set the bar for me in life to achieve, to work together as a team, and to, in essence, set goals. So it went from being in sports, I started getting really good at basketball. Went from playing basketball in high school to then playing basketball in college. So for me, it was everything basketball, anything that had to do with athletics. I was there constantly bettering myself and understandings. But also through that process, as a young kid, I wanted to also make money. My my whole thing, and this began at second grade, was my grandfather. He had started an organization that was a nonprofit faith-based organization to help people through multiple states. And I always watched how he would operate as well as how he treated others. And I wanted to be just like my grandpa. And he was a businessman. He asked me, so, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, a businessman. So I started carrying a briefcase around with me everywhere I went. It was a black leather briefcase. And I even dressed up when I went to school because I was like, I'm going to be a businessman. I'm going to be a businessman.
that's cool.
Whatever that means to a second grader. But I saw, even the way that he had operated, even through, he'd take us to auctions because we had farms. And at auctions, what they're doing is they're selling big tractors and blades and plows and everything, right? And for me as a young kid, I'm looking out and I'm seeing everyone raise their hand like, what is going on here, right? Through an auction. And I'm like, oh, they're purchasing. Like, I want to be an auctioneer, So it was just really funny how even as a young kid and still today, I embody the auctioneer almost, because it's like you're in front of people, like you create excitement. But long story short, basically we started in sports. That propelled me to success in physical, but also mental success, because you've got to set goals. And then through that I also had this entrepreneurial mind that was fueled by what I saw with my grandfather and living on a farm, because on a farm you have to do what it takes in order to not just make money, but you do the hard work as well. So yeah, that's just the beginning, right? That's in high school, and then we went into college as well. So, I mean, ever since college, I started to get into sales. So I played basketball, and then I started to sell cell phones.
Was that your first income?
Well, my first income, my first income was doing the door-to-door 12 years old in Michigan pushing my lawnmower door to door. Yeah, so that was my first income. So it was basically what you want, you get, and what you get, you put a price on it, and then you just go out and make it happen.
12 years
Yeah.
old, you were really young. So I think you
Yeah.
always had this natural tendency of
Well, that was
selling.
one thing, and then also remember with any of the fundraisers that we ever had, I remember I was always top of the class in fundraising. So I remember I raised over $5,000 for St. Jude's Research Hospital as a first grader. So that wasn't income in essence, but it was the art of persuading, but also the art of collecting money to then route towards something that that you needed it to go to, right? So for me, it was all about how do we collectively as a group get together to make an impact, right? Even as at a young kid, it doesn't matter what age, I would call friends, family, and I wouldn't it wouldn't stop, because if you know the mission, then you're going to be a lot more dedicated to that mission. And if the mission is bigger than who you are, then you will far surpass all of your peers, but it'll also make a larger impact because you'll have a bigger why.
That's cool.
Oh yeah. It's been a journey, right? So, you take those small little steps, and also to put into the fold, once again, I said my grandfather had this, nonprofit faith-based organization where we would take in people that were less fortunate than we were. And as a young kid, I saw that and I observed. And through that observation, I was able to see what servanthood is and having empathy towards others, because it's not always, I'm over you. It's let's come and get on the same common ground, and then let me hear you and what you need, and let me empathize with you. And it's not just about, like I said, leverage, or, I do this and I'm better than you. And it's like, we're all the same, it's just some people do different things with their opportunities, and they also seek different opportunities.
And you're describing basketball in a way, because one is not more important than the other in the team. Like the whole team needs to be in the
It's a
same level.
symbiotic relationship amongst every key individual on the floor, right? Because you have, post, point guard, shooting guard, right? Everyone has a position, and then you have rebounders and really good defensive men and all that. So it's like everything has to work together, but you always have to have the individual or multiple individuals within a team that have specific personalities, right? And that's business, that's life. And I think it's very important to understand different personalities in life, right? Like you have a different personality to me, but we're also very ambitious in what we do. But there's always this, let me get to understand who you are, right? Let's break bread. Let's get on the same level and understand how we can work together to help both you and I achieve our goals and dreams, right? So, yeah.
You're clearly thriving a lot, especially through the things I see in the Breakfast Palooza, the amount of great people that come to this Breakfast Palooza. I'm a firm believer that great people attract great people, and I admire that. And as we're talking about your childhood and talking about the things that you learned, are there any mental blocks that you had to overcome,
Yes.
one or several, to get to where you are right now?
Absolutely. So I would say it comes through limiting beliefs. And when I was a young kid, I remember my father would always say, money doesn't grow on trees. Like, if only, I wish, all these various terms. And to me, as we're driving in nice neighborhoods and seeing big homes and things like that, for me, it was always like, why not? Why not us? Why not me? Why not me? I never, ever let it dictate my attitude, even though at times it was difficult, right? Like, we went through a lot as a family. It wasn't just all, like, we were middle class, lower class, but also we moved quite a bit, because while we were helping out with the organization that was helping so many people, we sacrificed a lot of our own desires to help people. So through that process, once again, you know how to give, but also you're not setting proper boundaries for yourself in order to put your own mask on. So that's probably that's been one of the biggest hurdles that I've had, is to put my own mask on and also help people through the abundance that I have.
So would you say that the mental block that you're saying that you had to overcome was probably part of something that came from your family?
So yeah, it's always family, and then it's also subconscious, right? So there's many things that are planted within your mind as a young kid that you don't actually know about until you identify as an adult. Like until you mature and understand what you went through, and then you address that. So if you don't address it, then you'll be the same person you were 10 years ago, right? And you'll have the same tendencies, habits, things like that. And even in times of stress, your young person will come out based on you not identifying what your subconscious has gone through.
I can relate to that because my major mental block was started in a very common phrase that I learned that it's common here in US too. As you know, I came from Brazil, a very poor family. But both down there and over here, you hear a lot of, you have to go to college and get that diploma to be someone in life. And coming from a very humble family, anyone I know in my family, like going back 4 generations, no one has ever done college because of money. And I tried hard, and I couldn't get to college because of money, because of the situation we were. Eventually, I learned a lot of things in life, and I became an entrepreneur, and I started being able to provide to me, to my family. But I realized that I still had this limiting belief in my subconscious. I was still struggling as an entrepreneur to bring my business to the next level, because deep down there, my brain was telling me that I was not someone or somebody because I didn't have that diploma.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about being able to look in your past to identify certain traumas so you can work on them and overcome them. That's one thing I had to do.
Well, there's a psychology between thriving and also surviving. And for your listeners out there, if you want to Google search PERMA, PERMA, it's through the Stanford, I think in Pennsylvania. They did a study in regards to how do you live a life of thriving as opposed to surviving. So there's a whole difference, right, between thriving and surviving. We all can relate to that.
Oh, yeah.
So back to your question in regards to mindset and mental blocks. The biggest mental block, once again, and when you're striving to be someone who you see that's different than the current, then you will have imposter syndrome at every stage. If you're going towards your dreams. If you're staying the same, you will always be the same. You'll have the same thoughts, same people. You will never be uncomfortable. But it's those that get uncomfortable, just like working out, that we see new muscles or we achieve a certain accolade. But it's only through the hard times that we see our success.
You reminded me of the phrase, there is no comfort in the growing zone, and there is no growing in the comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you're describing, right?
100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we got Nathan Byrd here, and we just talked a little bit about mental blocks and a little bit about his background, and this has been great.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we had 3 or 4 hours
Oh, yeah.
to talk about
There's going to be a lot of
everything
good stuff.
that you went through, that I went through. But Nathan, I want to hear more. What else do you have to share about your journey?
Well, once again, so the journey that I'm on right now is truly about creating an environment that provides resources and tools for individuals that can expedite their success. Just because, once again, from that servanthood that I had seen when I was a young kid to the entrepreneurial side to I've seen it all, right? I've seen the Ferraris or Rolls Royces, the multi-million-dollar homes. Like, I've seen that lifestyle. I've also seen other people that have that lifestyle that you don't want to be like at all, just because they're not integratable, the character is lacking, right? So it's all a facade. Then I've also seen the individuals who are very quiet about the money that they make and the impact that they do, which I love. I love those type of people because I don't need flash, I need wisdom. And that's the standard that we set in our lives, and that's the reason why we're attracting some of the people that you're saying that you're really seeing, that you're resonating with at the events that we're hosting, is because of that standard that we're setting. Every person, every interaction, people know that about myself and about the standard that Lacey and I set in our lives. So it's taken a while, right? As you can imagine, being in a new place here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and people not knowing anything about us. And us just continuing to build strong relationship after strong relationship after strong relationship, right? Which now has created more of an organic feel. And, obviously there are growing pains through that as well, because when you start to grow organically like that, people are going to start then placing expectations, right? And then they're going to start putting perception. They're going to start creating perceptions, before they even know you. And, those are some things that we're going through right now and just growing through. That's how I like to look at it. Everything that we go through is a growth opportunity. And that's exactly the way you need to look at it, So as far as what we're doing, I have a huge heart for people. I have a huge heart for entrepreneurship, for business. And I want to ignite somebody's passion for what it is they dream of, and then provide all the tools and resources for them to accomplish that in a very quick manner. Well, I wouldn't say quick, because once again, if you just go quick, then you don't have any scars built up or any trials, right? But if I can provide the right mentorship, and then also access to all the right mentors, then we really have a great system that can help people propel towards their dreams. That's the whole thing. It's like, I don't want people stuck in the system, in the system of, I work 9 to 5, I can't be there for my family. Like, we know, though, because relationship is so big for me and also for my wife. We've been together for almost 11 years. Well, married for 10 and a half. We've been together for 11 and a half years. We went through a very tumultuous time in our relationship where we were separated for about 1 year and 2 months. From there, we almost were divorced, signed divorce papers. There's a whole story behind that. We don't have long enough for that. But that is one of the reasons that has propelled Lacey and I to continually, one, work with couples and help them. And number two, build strong community with other like-minded individuals. Doesn't have to be couples, but that's why we're so focused on the curation of very good friendships, but also those friends that are really business-minded as well.
One thing I love about what you do along with your wife is that you really focus in humans. And what you teach is applicable. Is that a good word? Applicable?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
I'm just testing my Brazilian accent. I love saying the word applicable for every type of business.
Yes, sir.
So you've been helping contractors, you've been helping people in the cosmetic industry, restaurant owners, investment groups, all sorts of entrepreneurs who really want to create and share value to the world. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. And I would say, if you want to look at systems, because that's what we all have ingrained in us, right? BS, belief systems. Mm-hmm. And every belief system, whether it's the belief for your spirituality, whether it's the belief in a system that is within your business, we're all systems, right? And I feel like you said business, but it's really applicable to the lives of each individual that come to our experiences, right? And that's why we're so focused in on creating these templates that are very pinpointed, that are intentional, and we're not wasting your time, and you're not wasting our time, right? So that's why it's very precise in how we do things, but it's also very holistic in its approach, because I'd rather do business with you, Anderson, because I know who you are, I know where you've been, and I know where you want to go. Because then I will internalize where you want to go and try to make it. Not everyone's like that, okay? Because not everyone's like gung-ho about your success, right? But I truly am, and we want to provide and create a network of individuals that have that same exact DNA, where when we see you win, we win. Because we are excited, because we know that that's where you wanted to go, and we had some hand in your success, right? So
That's awesome.
Yep.
You and I never talked about religion. I never asked you. So
Mhm.
are you Christian? You believe in
Yes,
God?
sir.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, we're non-denominational Christian family, and that is a whole another conversation. But yeah, I've been exposed to all sorts of miracles, I would say, and prayers that have been answered, and it's just amazing how when you can have that consistency in your life, you have a road map for success.
I think the reason why you and I connect very well is because my base belief has to do with my religion too. I'm a member
Mhm.
of the Church of Jesus Christ, the Latter-day Saints, and I think that the most important commandments are the same ones that we share, that we
Mhm.
believe.
Mhm.
Love God above all things, and love your neighbor, which is love humans,
Yes.
the ones close to you, like your wife, your family, and your friends, and all that stuff. And for me, that is business.
Mhm.
That's a way to see business, because when you love God with all your heart, you're grateful. You're a grateful person that you understand that God has given you talents, has given you a family, has given you your physical body to take care of,
Yep.
has given you the opportunity to get to know yourself and learn yourself. So you can actually learn how to do the second commandment, which is love others
Yep.
as you love yourself. And so that is the base for me in business. In my case, I'm a contractor. I'm building homes, I'm doing bathrooms, but I'm always thinking about a family is going to use this.
Yep.
It's about adding value to their life. And in exchange, it adds value to my life, because then they pay me something
Yes.
that we call money, but it's actually value that I can reinvest in my own family. So that's the way I see business, and I see that that's how you see it too.
It's a flow.
We may use different words, but it all comes down to the same thing: doing good to other people.
Yes.
I love
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Hmm.
Again, we're over here with Nathan Byrd, talking about his beautiful life, his beautiful growth, and the great impact and influence that he has had in many people throughout the world, especially here in Salt Lake City. Coming up on August 2nd, as you guys can see over there on the screen, we have another Breakfast Palooza. I am a witness of how great it is. There are lots of good-looking people and entrepreneurs, and this time I'll be one of the sponsors. I'm
Yep.
very glad for that opportunity. I also feel that it's a way to give back to what Breakfast Palooza has already given to me in the two ones that I went. We would love to hear from you what is coming. Actually,
Mhm.
as you start talking, can we start with showing pictures of the last ones?
Yeah, let's take a look.
So I'm just going over here to the TV real
All
quick.
sorts of pictures. We started the Breakfast Palooza, honestly, just with the thought in mind of how we can get people to sit around a table. And number one, this is one of our businesses that my family and I own, is an actual maple syrup farm. The maple syrup farm is located in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And from that, I decided, well, why don't we have a breakfast for high performing entrepreneurs? And why don't we do it in a way that's really entertaining, exciting, and has immersive education with the ability to allow for people to really connect with each other at a very grassroots level. And from that, it has grown into a lot larger of an experience, as you can tell on that picture that has been shown. And for those of you that don't have access to the video, it's a larger room. It's got about 250 people there, and we literally started with 25 around a round table, talking about life, business, and the real good maple syrup.
And I was actually in that event. That picture you guys see, I was there, and I saw how much value it was shared. There were many things. Let me go back to because we're gonna go back to the screen. But let's go back to us right here.
Yeah, it's been a real fun time to build, and the excitement, but also just the relationships that we're building.
Oh yeah, in the last one, what's his name? I struggle with names.
Dan.
Dan
Fleischman.
Fleischman.
Yeah.
I was so impressed to hear his story. I hadn't heard of him until then, and I was very impressed with everything he's done and his philosophy.
Mhm.
I really loved it. And so, who is coming up for this next one?
Well, this next one is extraordinary, honestly. We've gone above and beyond to set the standard even higher. Sometimes it's a little stressful. But this next one, so we've got the world's foremost leader in flow state research and human optimization, Stephen Kotler. Stephen Kotler has written 14 books, New York Times bestseller. He has also, you can look him up at stephenkotler.com. He's written a very popular book called The Art of Impossible. So anyone who wants to accomplish anything that they think is impossible, he's broken down the science behind how it's actually possible. So he's been researching this specific area of expertise over the last 30 years. Those are all of his books right there. In Our Country, Art of Impossible, Future is Faster Than You Think. It's just incredible how insightful he is, as well as what he'll be providing for our group. His speaker fee is roughly around $40,000, and that's typically what he charges. But we're obviously blessed to have him in the room, and just the standard that he'll set, once again, is extremely high. Secondly, we've got a good friend of mine. His name is Pete Zaccanoni. Pete is the 7-time world record, 7-time world's champion for the speed racing jet planes at the Reno Air Base. So he's coming in. He's also the founder of PC Aviators. It's a private Learjet management company in Park City, Utah, called PC Aviators. And Pete will speak on how when he was going 160 miles an hour, he crashed into the ground and survived.
Really?
Yeah. So he's got an amazing survival story, but also in the midst of tragedy, how do you remain focused? So he'll touch on that. In addition to that, we've got something called trademarked Palooza Games. So the Palooza Games, this is something new that we're going to be introducing to everyone in the in the experience. I can't say everything about it now, but it's going to be very unique, that's for sure. It's in essence business owners solving problems together to win some cool stuff. And then we've got, at the very end of the day, we've got Josh Vietti. Josh is an electric hip-hop violin performer flying in from Los Angeles. Once again, he's going to just bring down the house with energy and excitement and just a unique talent with his violin. So, sparsed and, put throughout the entire day is going to be amazing food, cuisine, right? So we'll start breakfast off with the maple syrup, and we've got Kodiak Cakes has given us a bunch of their protein pancakes and their French toast dippers. And at this next Palooza, we'll also have maple fountains. So, as you could tell, as you could maybe imagine, the maple syrup just flowing out of fountains and dipping French toast in it.
That's fancy.
Oh yeah.
Since we're on it,
Yes.
Palooza.
Yes, sir.
What's the background of the name?
Oh, Palooza. So Palooza means an extravaganza. So something that's very out of the normal and extravagant. So for me, I thought about the brand and I wanted to create something that nobody has ever seen before. I wanted to create the world's finest entrepreneur's breakfast. And nobody had done it. And I believe that we're onto something, and we're going to keep on building it the way that we see visioned. At the scale that we see vision. But, like I said, the DNA is all relationship-based, organic growth, farm to table, and what it will Yield, I do not know, but I definitely have some visions for in the future.
That's awesome. Another thing that I was very excited to see as I looked on the website and as you were telling me what's coming up is the strong sponsors that you're having.
Oh yeah,
And I got them over here on your website right there.
Well, let's just look at Anderson Builders. I'm so appreciative of every single person that has put in both time, effort, and money to make this happen. These events are not they're not inexpensive. Let's just put it that way. And with this one, we've really stepped up. Like I said, the production. This next one is going to be at the High Star Ranch in Camas, Utah. The High Star Ranch is a luxury like 1,500 acre ranch. We have access to a 3-acre lawn outdoors. You can see, look at that right there. That entire facility we have access to, while we're at the event. But
that's showing now on the podcast. Now people can actually see.
Yeah, there you go. So basically, it's a real big venue. And then we've got sponsors, Anderson Builders. We've got Kodiak Cakes is involved. They're everywhere. We've got our main sponsor, which is Pono AI. If you go to ponoai.com, pono.ai, it's really quite a system that they've developed. But
Pono.ai.
Yep.
All right, let's Google them right now.
Yeah.
So Pono.ai.
So it's a business operating system, and it allows for individuals who have goals or who need to be directed in a way to organize their business plan through artificial intelligence, creating all of their needed documentation, as well as setting you up for a timeline of execution on each of those goals that you input into the system. So it's in essence your AI business coach in a box, and it will help you achieve whatever goal you set out by accessing large language models all across the web.
That's why I love it, because I hadn't heard of them yet, and so
yeah, they're just launching at our event, so we're excited to be able to partner with them. And their founder Dalton Locke he's an amazing individual as well. Very very high performing entrepreneur. His previous company, he took about $100 million, and they're still in operation today.
So in simple, quick words, Nathan, why should people come to the Breakfast Palooza on August 2nd?
You should come to the Breakfast Palooza on August 2nd for an extremely entertaining, immersive, and enlightening time for you to be able to connect with high-performing entrepreneurs and achieve your impossible based on the workshop from Stephen Kotler. And also, if you want super, super good food, you've got all the food that's going to be provided, both the barbecue later on at night as well as the really good maple syrup in the morning.
Will there be opportunity and time for networking?
Okay, so absolutely. Networking is one of the cores of every event that we do. And with this one in particular, we will have different breakout sessions that will allow for each person to network. Each table we have is a round table, and 10 people are at each round table. So you will have the opportunity to meet 10 new people at the different tables, as well as form your team at the Breakfast Palooza games that will allow for you to get to know each other better through competition.
Love it. That's awesome. And another question I have is, I noticed you do an awesome follow-up afterwards through email, but how do we keep fostering those relationships after the event as well?
Well, currently I suggest that, well, first off, we're looking at putting in systems and implementations through Circle, which is, an application that will allow for us to continue to communicate. But, for us, we're always suggesting others to secure the contact information of those that you want to network, but also follow up, like you're saying. So make sure you take somebody to lunch and be intentional about that. Make sure before you leave the event, you've got somebody on the calendar set and ready. Follow up and make sure that you're there on time. And if you're not going to be Hunt time, let them know.
Like you said, the first Breakfast Palooza started with roughly 20, 25 people, and now we're at between 200, 300
Yes,
at a
sir.
very fancy place with the
Mhm.
best brains in the world teaching us.
Yep.
And that is just amazing.
It is. I mean, trust me. Like when a good friend of mine said, "Hey, listen, I've got a good friend of mine. He'll be flying in from San Diego. He owns the largest car donation company in the world. It's either U.S. or world. It's probably U.S., but it's a large donation company. And what they do is they take in car donations, and then they diversify their additional value to a lot of the nonprofits that they're associated with as well. So they're helping a lot of people, right? And I'm like, yeah, he can be in the room for sure, for sure. So, he got him in touch with me, and then we were able to get to know him a lot. But he's very affluent. He's over in San Diego, and I'm excited to get to know him personally. But it's just people like that that'll be in the room that we know that that this will spread like wildfire in other cities. So that's why we're wanting to invite certain people from other cities, right, to be kind of ambassadors of some sort to,
Well, and here is my offer to be the ambassador of Brazil.
Let's do
I
it.
can't wait to have you come speak
I'm
with
ready.
me.
Let's do it.
I have some gigs to talk in Brazil, and can't wait to have you come because you're a visionary.
Oh,
you
yeah.
believe in a lot of things that I had to learn throughout my journey as an
Yes.
entrepreneur, and I'm excited.
I mean, I believe in moving your body, moving your mind, and achieving the dreams that you have set out. Bottom line. And it's all possible. It's all possible when you get in the right room with the right people that will hold you accountable to your dreams.
And we're going to have that opportunity on August 2nd. So, again, now we're on that camera right there. To close up this part of the podcast, Breakfast Palooza, August 2nd, here in Salt Lake City. What's the name of the place again?
It's called the High Star Ranch, and you can find the High Star. Well, you can find everything about the Breakfast Palooza on just breakfastpalooza.com.
And you can buy the tickets, and you can see
buy
pictures of
tickets.
the last ones.
Yep. Buy tickets, and tickets start at $179. VIP is $279, and for us, it's a commitment. That's for sure, but it's also a commitment to a time commitment as well. And the reason why we created it to be an all-day event is because we needed full immersion. With some of our other events, we had some breaks and we had some things that, people would just come in for a little while and then they'd leave. But for us, the impact that we really wanted to make is full immersion. And what that means is full focus on the people that are right in front of you. Your phone doesn't matter. The people in front of you matter. So that is our biggest thing. And we chose the High Star Ranch because the High Star Ranch is about, 55 minutes outside of Salt Lake. And it was just really important for us to have that destination location to where you have peace, tranquility, and you can allow yourself to think and reflect so where you can see where you want to go.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing.
Oh, yeah.
There is one question that I had forgotten and finally came back to my mind. I was like, that's such an important question.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I remembered. What are the best successful or success stories that you've seen coming from the other Breakfast Paloozas?
We made a strategic connection with somebody who has reaped the benefits, thousands of dollars through a joint venture partnership. I'm not going to name the companies just to...
For privacy, yeah.
Yeah, so one is a finance company and another does tax stuff. And that partnership was just a partnership made in heaven. Other strategic connections, I continue to hear from people that have come saying that, hey, listen, I had lunch with such and such. We had somebody come to one of our events that was looking for a position. They ended up getting a position with somebody who we had introduced them to in the network, and then they went on to make a six-figure salary. So we're very excited about that as a placement, but we just you never know. There's always intangibles, right? One idea that somebody could really just take, and we've had just so many good speakers. You know, the January 12th one was amazing. You know, and we've got all these videos actually recorded, and we're creating more of a repository of the entire experience around the brands and all the different speakers. But for now, you know, we've just got the website up right now. So anyway.
Thank you again.
Oh, yeah.
It's time to wrap up. This has been an amazing opportunity to spend some time with you. Again, my friends, we got Nathan Byrd, the founder of the Breakfast Palooza, an amazing entrepreneur that will be hosting the Breakfast Palooza on August 2nd. And I am Anderson Francisco, the owner of Anderson Builders, leading the podcast Go Big Mentality, and no one else better than Nathan Byrd to help us to understand the importance of having a vision, connecting with people, and sharing value in the world.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Nathan.
You're welcome.